You're listening to the 49 Carats Podcast, a 49ers Goldmine production with Stephanie Sanchez.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the 49 Carats Podcast. I'm your host, Steph. It is Friday, May 30th. Apologies for anyone that was waiting for a show this week. I didn't end up doing one for Monday. Took some days off, but we're back. Wayne, it's another Friday. It's off season, but we got some OTA updates today, which I can't wait to talk about with you. But before we do that, how are you?
I am tired. I realized today that I'm exhausted, and it's time for a much needed break. The Niners about to get 40 days off soon, and so I'm probably going to break with them. But it's good to be here. It's another Friday where we get to talk 49er football, and so I'm excited to be here.
Indeed. Yeah, I respect that, Wayne. I think as content creators, a lot of people don't realize just how exhausting this could be in preparing for our shows and, getting here on camera and all that. It's fun. We enjoy it, but we definitely need our breaks as well. So that's why I took some days off too. But Wayne, let's get into OTAs. And all the happenings of that. That happened, or the first OTAs practice was, I believe, the 27th. So that happened a few days ago. But yesterday, Thursday, May 29th, was the first day that I believe the media was able to, take in all the happenings of OTAs. So we got some videos, we got some reports out of OTAs, and one of those being that the vast majority of 49er players are there, as we have known. Most of the team did check in for the voluntary portion of the offseason, which is huge. Nick Wagner said he counted 17 players who were either working on the side, watching from the side, or that he did not see at all. So, while the majority of the players are present, there are also a fair share of players who are just not participating right now. And I think that's fine, Wayne, because, this is the time of the off season where if someone's just even a little dinged up, they're kind of just like, you know what? Like, why are we risking you getting hurt any further? You could skip this part.
Yeah, precautionary injuries, nothing too severe. I mean, you heard Kyle Shanahan say, if this was a different type of practice, the players would be playing or practicing or whatever. Yeah. So I'm not too concerned. But for those that are, I get it. So it's okay. Like I get it. I can relate with you. I understand. It just seems like, injuries just plague this team year in and year out. But I don't think they're severe injuries. They could be nagging ones. Who knows? But let these guys kind of the good news is that players that are new are getting the opportunities with these installs and the opportunities and the reps to see what they really got. I mean, you saw Jordan Watkins in one of the clips you just posted. You saw him, and he had a really good couple of days at OTAs, right? And that's what we want to see. We want to know what the rookie can do. Now, these are just running routes. There's no defenses covering him, so that's a whole nother conversation. But at least his routes are smooth, they're crisp. And he's catching the ball, right? They're not dropping the passes. And so it's good. OTAs for me is getting back to 49er football after a much long break, right? And really getting in sync with one another, right? Building the rapport, building, that team building type, those concepts. That's what OTAs are really all about, because they're going to break. And it's really good to see the veterans getting to know the rookies and the rookies getting to know the veterans, and them getting to know the new players that were brought in as well in free agency. So I'm excited that OTAs are off, and I'm excited from some of the news that we're hearing from the San Francisco 49ers. I'm not too alarmed about the injuries, but again, Ricky Pearsall injury, hamstring, we'll monitor it. I mean, that's the most we can do. The Jair Brown procedure with the ankle, we'll monitor it. clearly the 49ers were ready. We got 12 wide receivers on the roster and hella safeties.
Yeah. Yeah. They're a little shorthanded right now because they got 3 guys who were just kind of either watching or working on the side. But again, it's OTAs, and I like what you said, Wayne, that when there's injuries, especially at this time of the year, is that opportunity for those younger guys, those guys that are a little bit further on the depth chart. They got to prove themselves, next man up, right? So this is a good opportunity for them, to showcase their skills. But let's talk about those injuries, couple that you mentioned, right? And these were straight from Kyle Shanahan. As far as Ricky Pearsall, he tweaked his hamstring. You guys may remember that last year he dealt with a hamstring injury as well. I have to imagine, this wasn't confirmed by Kyle, but I have to imagine that it's probably that same hamstring that he's dealt with before. The good news is that Kyle didn't seem to sound too worried about it, and even said he should be healthy by minicamp, but also said that it probably won't be a surprise if he doesn't participate in minicamp, but he'll be healthy. It was kind of just more like, we don't know if we'll actually have him participate just because it's such a short stint in minicamp. Might as well sit him out till training camp maybe at that point. But it's a good sign that Kyle said he should be ready by minicamp. Whether or not he participates is another question, but not too worried about that one. Jair Brown apparently had a surgery. He didn't say surgery. He said procedure. So
He said procedure.
I want to be careful about, calling it a surgery because we don't know that, right? Procedure on his ankle, pretty vague, right? But Kyle did say he won't be ready until training camp. Another player that won't be ready until training camp is Marquez Siegel, rookie safety. Now, this one, some beat writers said it was like an unknown injury, but I saw Nick Wagner put it as a sports hernia. So I'm going to go with Nick Wagner, assume that he knows that that's the injury for Siegel, because to this point, I don't think we had really known it, and Kyle hadn't reported on it. But it sounds like this was an injury that they knew about already, and they knew that he wouldn't be ready until training camp. So that's that on Siegel. Alfred Collins, the other rookie second-round pick, dealing with a calf injury. You guys may recall, at his pro day, he had a little, was it a boot, Wayne? Or I don't know. He had something on his calf, right? So he didn't participate at the pro day, and Kyle Shanahan said he's week to week. So that's another injury they knew of, even prior to the draft. They're comfortable with it. He's week to week, still not participating. So all in all, these don't seem super serious. But again, it's just that cautionary time of the year where if anyone's kind of just dealing with even something little, you're just just sit out. It's cool. And as long as they're there and they're soaking it all in, especially for these rookies, that's still a big deal. Now, a lot of people are wondering about Trent Williams. Where is Trent Williams, right? And rightfully so. He's someone who dealt with injury last year. So for him to get up to speed and, get this preseason off to a good start, we want to be able to see Trent. Kyle Shanahan did say he's been around. He was here at the beginning of phase 1, hasn't been here in a couple weeks, but expect to see him soon. How soon, Wayne? I don't know. But I mean, this is a good sign, right? The fact that he even showed up at the beginning of phase 1 is good. And we got some videos of him training, so he's doing something. He's not like he's retiring. That's the fear of a lot of fans, that oh, what if he's retiring? I haven't seen anything about him at all. So that's the fear. But it seems like he's going to report. He has been there.
Yeah, it definitely looks like Trent's putting in the work. This is what he does every season. I mean, Trent's been in the league for 40 years. I mean, to get him to come to some of these voluntary things is absurd. He was there when it mattered at the very beginning, in April when they first met. That's when it mattered the most to me. He showed up as a veteran, as a team captain, to probably let everybody know, listen, I'll be back, go home, do whatever I got to do. I'll see you guys at training camp. So I'm not necessarily worried about Big Trent. I think my main concern from the offseason was he tired mentally, physically? Did he want to hang up the cleats? But now you see him with the training videos. It looks like he still has a lot left in the tank. And I feel like he should be granted a little bit of grace, because he's going to be moving back with the team very shortly and then be with them for that long stint of time. So look, Trent, personal situations, all the trauma he suffered throughout the offseason. Let this man do what he does in his privacy, and what he chooses to post, we'll repost it for sure. But he'll be back. He'll be in San Francisco sooner rather than later.
Yep, and he'll be welcomed with open arms because still, the best at his position, the best offensive lineman this team has. So yeah, we're excited, and yeah, he looked good in the video I saw as well. So looking forward to his return on the 49ers field. But another player that I think a lot of people have opinions about right now is Christian McCaffrey. Honestly, Wayne, I think this is a good topic to get into because around this time of the year, we get people who see the same thing and have exactly different takeaways, right? And different perceptions of it. And, that's just life. Like, people are going to have different opinions about something that they see. One thing that you may see objectively and someone else is like, no, like I see it this way. So one good exercise that I want 49er fans to get into, especially this time of the year, off season through training camp, is come up with your own conclusions. I mean, if someone is talking about how a player looks, look at the video yourself. Look at the same stuff that they're looking at and come up with your own opinion on it. My biggest gripe, Wayne, is like when someone freaks out about an opinion that they see, whether it's good or bad, right? And they're like, oh, I heard so-and-so say this, so I'm attaching myself to that opinion now too. That's what I believe, without even seeing anything for themselves, right? Like,
yeah.
And so that's just the age of content creation that we're in, and trusting people, and that's okay. Like, that's human nature. People are going to do that. But I think it's always good for fans to see it for themselves and come up with their own opinions on it. But what's your kind of take on that, Wayne?
You want my take on CMC or my take on the stuff that's being said? Like,
well, just in general, like
it's bipolar, right? You got CMC looks slow out of his breaks and burst and blah blah blah, and then you got CMC looks really good coming back from the injury. So it's like, okay, now I totally agree with you, right? Like, not everybody is going to have the opportunity to maybe see this, but when you do get the opportunity to see it, if you're a fan, definitely try to draw your own conclusion from it. Like Steph said, if this is slow to you, okay, maybe your eyes are working a little bit slower than the others, or I don't know. He looks good, okay, and I get it. There's no contact, but if you're watching these clips, I just don't see him losing a step. I see him just being locked in, making sure he's catching every pass, making sure he's running every route crisp. It's OTAs. It's not even full blown.
Yes.
So at this point, it's just kind of like, hey, I'm cool with everybody having an opinion because you know me, I don't give a fuck about anybody, but I'm cool. You got an opinion, that's cool. You see what you see, but I think the best way to sum this up is you got to see it for yourself. You got to see it to believe it. So even if you do read the opinion first, even if you do attach yourself to it, I got to see this for myself. There's no way he looks slower. And look, you can draw the parallel, him coming off of the two Achilles tendonitis and the calf strains and all the injuries he had after being a former offensive player of the year. I think I put out before these practice clips even released that this cat is going to probably win comeback player of the year. I just feel like
he can, yeah.
He's lost, and his name is being lost because they feel like his career is over, and I think that's all the push drive he needs to succeed, because we all know that Christian McCaffrey is a competitor at best. Like, that's what he does, and I can't wait to see him get out there with the full pads on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so anytime you're seeing conflicting reports about something, my best advice is to just go and see it for yourself, like I said, and just come up with your own opinion on it. That's it. And I think he looks good too, Wayne. he looks like himself to me, which is, I think, encouraging. It's a big deal. And I wanted to share this clip because, Kyle Shanahan was asked about Christian McCaffrey and his health. So let me play what he had to say about him.
Christian is pretty, he's as ready as any player I've ever been around. When he gets hurt, he's got to rehab and get better. Right now, he's healthy as can be. We got to kind of protect him from himself. But Christian has a good idea of what he needs to do right now. He's doing a lot less than he normally would do, but I know he's excited on how healthy he feels and the fact that he can get out there.
All right, so coming from the source of Kyle Shanahan, it seems like things are good with Christian. He's as healthy as he can be. I think that's good, right? Like that could be somewhat coach speak, but he's as healthy as he can be.
But again, you could take it however you want it. I mean, that's Kyle Shanahan. That's what he does. He throws that out there. So if you draw the parallel to where he looks slow, cool. But he is as healthy as he can be, right? Like they haven't seen him this healthy probably in a long time, right? So they don't even know how to measure it at this point, right? So they'll track it the next day, and he might even look more healthier. He's probably going to be as healthy as he can be every day he steps out on the football field. So it comes down to interpretation and how you choose to do it. But I mean, the speed and burst is there. I mean, you saw it. So I don't know how else to say it. Like it's there. Like you saw it. Like it's. Look, I'm not getting in none of this crap. I'm glad Christian McCaffrey is back. He's a key cog to Kyle Shanahan's offense, and as long as he's healthy, this offense will continue to flow the way it needs to flow, both in the run game and in the receiving game. I think that's what's most important. They need McCaffrey.
Absolutely, and I think that's why some people are maybe concerned. Like I'd be lying if I didn't say that I was, kind of worried that McCaffrey could get hurt again,
It's football. I'm worried everybody could get hurt. I'm worried Brock Purdy can go out there and get hurt because he tore his UCL. If he get hit another time, I grimace every time he hits the ground. But it's football. So, yeah, it can happen. But I'm looking at the point where I feel like the 49ers are more prepared for situations like that because they went through the adversity and they realize, damn, we lose Christian McCaffrey, damn. We lose Brock Purdy, damn. Like you get what I'm saying? I'm not saying Mac Jones is that dude, but they went and got a guy that can probably run the system. God forbid anything was to happen. They drafted some running backs that can do some of the things we hope that Christian McCaffrey has done. And then you saw hopefully you get the emergence of Isaac Guerrero this year. If he gets more opportunities and reps out there as well, I think he's going to take the Jordan Mason role. So there's so many ways I feel like they're more prepared, because that's what it's all about, right? Like it's they got to go back to the stupid Boy Scouts honor. Like just be prepared because you never know what's gonna happen, and when something happens, you're hoping you got that next man up that can really come in there. You don't really skip a beat. So yeah, I'm nervous that everybody could go out there and get hurt, but it's football, so I connotate it to that. It can happen on any given play at any given moment. But right now, they're not hurt. So I'm excited. These guys.
Right now, let's enjoy it. Enjoy it. But one thing that Kyle said that I kind of want to pivot to now is we've got to kind of protect him from himself. And I think that's a great line. It's something they've kind of said before in the past, but they haven't always, I think, adhered to that so much. And I get it. Once you get in those game situations, it's hard to take a guy like that off the field, more so because he also does not want to come off the field. So it's hard to manage that. And so I kind of wonder, is it time for the 49ers to start to load manage McCaffrey a little bit more than maybe they have in the past? And there's this one video or the Clay Kubiak, when he spoke with the media earlier this month, it was May 8th. He was asked about Christian McCaffrey, and I want to play the clip of what he said on managing his workload.
I wouldn't. I mean, you're always cognizant of the reps you're putting on guys, especially in practice. When we do do that with Christian all the time. We monitor his reps. You got to be smart when you're in games. You got to be cognizant of how much they're out there. Christian's a really hard guy to take off the field, and for a lot of reasons. One, because he's a great player, but two, because he does not want to come out. Sometimes there's a battle. And so it's just got to balance those things out. You got to be aware of it. Sometimes you got to pull him off the field every now and then, but that's part of what makes him a great player, is he's so competitive and he wants to be out there. But it's on us as coaches to try to do the best we can to balance it out.
So I appreciate that they understand that it's their responsibility to do that and be able to protect the player from himself, especially a player that he has no chill. Like, he goes 100%, like every time he's out there, maybe even 110%, right? Mm-hmm. Especially even in these early portions of the off season. Like, that has been kind of Christian McCaffrey's thing that he's known for. Like, oh, he looks like he's in mid-season form. He's going hard, and part of that, I think, is maybe the reason he got to that point with the Achilles tendonitis, because you don't know when to stop, right? And so I do think they know what they have to do, but whether they do it, and he acknowledges it's difficult, right? Once you get into the season and games, I'll be interested to see how they kind of manage it, knowing what we know now about Christian and how we got to the point he did last year as well. So I'm just interested in that. But what do you think, Wayne? Do you think the 49ers should try to load manage him at all in 2025?
No. He's the best running back on the team. Why am I gonna load manage the guy? Like, if he's healthy, he's healthy, and when he's not healthy, you got options. That's just how I look at it, man. I for one, he doesn't want to be load managed. For two, they don't want to load. They want him in the game. Now, if he's breathing, hack-a-sacking over on the sideline, you take him out for a play, that's different. But I just feel like McCaffrey needs to be on the football field, just like the offensive line needs to be on the football. You're not low managing them guys. Players need to play. If he's healthy and he can play, kudos. And if anything is to happen, it's not on the team. You can't blame the team for injuries. Like, I really don't like that. I think you can't. That's just not how football works. I think the Achilles tendonitis was something that built up just over time. You don't get it overnight. You don't get it after one season. You get it after just being on your feet all the time, like for a long time. And so, I think it just built up, it flared up, and it was just too close for comfort to where the Niners weren't having a good season. And it's best we just shut them down. We could shut them down. They kind of constituted to a different injury. I think it was a calf strain or a calf something at that point. But I just don't see anything as far as load management, like when it comes to a guy like Christian McCaffrey. That's just not what his mentality is. And you take him out for that one play and something go bad, then what? You're going to be like, dang, that could have been a touchdown, or that could, I don't know. I don't play the game. If he's in the game and he's healthy, I say just let him rock. And when he needs a breather, you take him out.
Yeah. I hope, Christian also maybe is a little more mindful of when it's time for him to take those breaks too this year. Because, as Kubiak said, it is a balance. So you got to be able to balance it all. And so, yes, the coaches have a responsibility to him, but, he also has a responsibility to himself in order to keep himself healthy and fresh. You got to know your limits or, when you're getting there. And that's why you got backups. And the 49ers have done an excellent job, as you said, Wayne, kind of rebuilding the depth of the running back group. And so this year they got a pretty strong group, and they're prepared, as you said, right? They're prepared. They're better prepared. So, so it's okay to leverage that sometimes. So, hope for the best for Christian McCaffrey this season. But so far, he looks so good. So not too worried about it. Definitely a good conversation there to have. Now, Wayne, let's get to some other clips here from practice. I think what we got here is we've got mid-post out here, getting some reps in. Defensive lineman getting some reps in here with the rest of the group. Michael Williams seems to, be looking pretty good so far as well. All comments on him looks like he looks the part. And
Yeah, the power is there, the move to get off, all the stuff that we saw when drafted. I mean, you hear him talk. He's excited to play football. We talk about the rookie, Michael Williams, and that's what you love to see, right? And he was talking. Fred Warner. This is one of the guys Fred Warner likes because he said like, just talking to Fred, like he wants to go after the ball, like get like, you know what I'm saying, like just like it. It's not about the set. It's something about this kid that he loves right off the top. You know what I mean? So I like Michael Williams. I feel like he's going to be a force. They're going to have to do a lot of sliding protections to one of them sides. I would love to. I would love to see him on the same side as Nick Bosa. I would love to see how they utilize the stunt in that particular type of action. But I'm glad that the defensive line is young, fast, and furious. And I really think that they're going to get off a lot this upcoming season. It may take a game or two for them to really get like in the gear or whatever. You can see they're not with Alfred Collins, but I think he was going to be a rotational piece anyway. But I like that the defensive line is going to be fast and furious. I like that Nick Bosa looks like he's playing free. I feel like he already knows like they're going to have to draw. They're going to have to slide protections and double on somewhere else other than me all the time. So this is going to be a good bonus for Nick. Nick is just in that season where he's a savvy vet, And I already know that they got him ranked, top 8? I think he's 8 in PFF or whatever, as far as defensive ends in the game. And we all understand the context behind that, right? The sack numbers aren't high, so it makes sense. I'm cool with that, but I think Nick Bosa knows that he's probably better than 8 players, 7 other players on that list. And that, to me, is going to drive him this particular season. I feel like Nick Bosa is going to have a phenomenal freaking year. And I'm glad that they finally addressed the defensive line. Like, they addressed it in the proper way to stop the run. Stop the run first.
Boy, did they need to. Boy, did they need to. And yes, they did, right? So I'm looking forward to that. That should help Nick Bosa a ton. I think, like we've been saying, we expect the run defense to be a lot better this year. I think the amount of competition that's happening or is going to happen for the defensive line through this offseason is going to be really great for that group. And hopefully they get to that point where there's so many guys in your, the defensive line room that you feel like you can rotate them, right? And you have really strong rotations and not just one group where you feel like you got to play them all the time. But that's when the 49ers were at their best with their defensive line, when they just had so many different, line combinations and, you could bring them out whenever you needed to. So I think that's hopefully the point they could get at some point this year, but we know Nick Bosa is going to be ready out of that group for sure. But Wayne, there's some other veterans, impressing as they normally do. Juwan Jennings looks to be in mid-season form already, based on all accounts. This is from Matt Barrow's OTAs piece. He said a receiver who's already at full speed, Juwan Jennings, as was the case in 2024. He was Brock Purdy's favorite wide receiver target Thursday, connecting on all but 2 passes that went in his direction. The best completion of the day was a deep ball down the left sideline over cornerback Renardo Green during 7-on-7 drills. Again, OTAs, usually you can't take a lot away from offensive line, defensive line, because they're not really and even when the offense or defense does anything, it's like, I would say 7-on-7 it's usually advantageous to the offense. So keep all of that in mind. This is early off-season activities, but I think it's good to see that these guys have that same connection, because boy, was it a strong one last year. And it really paid off for the 49ers when they didn't have Brandon Ayuk, when, Debo was MIA, right? In the second half of the season, Juwan Jennings was that guy that Brock Purdy was looking to. And it looks like that's going to continue going into 25.
Yeah, it's good to see that they still have that solid rapport, right? The 1-5, and I like it, because this guy's in a contract season, right? He's going to be playing basically to get paid. He's also looks like he's having fun out there. He's still trying to prove everybody he's a number one wide receiver. I love it. Like, you know what I mean? And he's our number one wide receiver. I don't care how you shape it. This is who he is. This is what he is. He's the X-Man, right? You know what I'm saying? So at this point, like, give it to him, man. There's so many things that make Jauan Jennings tick, right? His aggressiveness, his ability, his catch radius, his physicality, and his ability to really run the slowest, quickest routes I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, I understand that his speed is slow. He doesn't run routes slow though. He's so quick in and out of his breaks. Like, it's so weird. And the best part about him is really the yards after the catch. It's like he makes that first person miss. You know what I'm saying? He sees a lot of man coverage because they just feel like they don't respect him, and he's beating them profusely, like really bad. And so keep manning him up. But I do like the way he's able to run those routes and sit in the zone. And so that's what we're gonna need to see, because I feel like a lot of teams are probably gonna be zoning us up this particular season. So I like the growth of Jauan Jennings. I think he's grown mentally, physically. I think the way the season ended was on. I mean, him being ejected from a game right before he got 1,000 yards. I think that's something he's coming back to let the league know y'all messed up. You know what I'm saying? So I'm excited, man. I like the dog in him. I love the fight in him, and I'm glad that him and Brock are still on the same page.
Listen, we got a motivated Jauan Jennings this year because it's a contract year, and I don't, there's conversations of maybe the 49ers could give him an extension before the season starts, but I doubt that at this point. I think the deals they wanted to get done before this year have already been completed. And that's not to say that Jennings, like, it's not a possibility for Jennings, but I think the 49ers going to see how this season plays out for Jennings. And I think he's going to get it back from somebody. He's going to be a free agent, I think.
I mean, I went the Niners. They probably gonna make him an offer, but there's so many wide receivers that they've drafted to where it doesn't sound like they'll make him an offer. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Now, I think they'll make him an offer, but I don't think it's gonna be one of those type of offers. Is what I'm trying to say. I think there's gonna be a team that's gonna definitely give him the bag. So at this point, though, all I care about is Jauan Jennings and what he's gonna be doing for the San Francisco 49ers. He loves it here. I'm sure he doesn't want to go anywhere. Right now, he's a Niner, and I guarantee you, he is going to be somebody to really keep an eye on all season long. We don't have to force feed him the ball, but when he's out on the football field, he's no longer just third in Jauan, right? Like, he's first in Jauan, second in Jauan, third in Jauan, and so, like, he's Jauan now. Like, that's who he is. Dynamite.
Dynamite. Yeah, I'm excited to see what Jauan does this year. Like we said, the connection that he has with Brock Purdy, I think, is going to flourish even more this year. And they've done some off-season work together as well. And it sounds also, Wayne, like Jacob Cowing. I don't have anything specific on him, but again, by all accounts, it sounds like Jacob Cowing has taken a big step in his second year. For one, it sounds like he's put on more weight. Kittle has mentioned it, that you definitely see the bigger muscle on him. And who was it? KP said he spoke to the guy that was like training him this offseason, and Ricky. And he had a lot to say about Jacob Cowing and just how he looks, and he's made a lot of improvements just from one year to the next. So I'm excited to see what Jacob Cowing does. Now, again, I didn't hear too much about him from this first OTAs practice that the media was at, but as a whole, like, I think he's definitely going to have that opportunity. And, I feel good about him potentially being able to leave a mark and earn those reps just based on what I'm hearing about him so far. But we're going to see how that plays out for him.
Yeah, like, the Niners got receivers, and it just seems like opportunities are presenting themselves, and this is when you take advantage of these opportunities. This is how football is. Drafted or undrafted, you're going to get an opportunity at some point. The question is, are you ready? Definitely love the progression we're seeing from our guy Jacob Cowing, man. Like, look, the dude definitely put on some muscle. Not just weight, but good weight. Like, you know what I mean? So let's hope he didn't lose any of that speed. We already know he's a burner down the football field. Now it's time to see how well he is running across the football field, right? Like, does he have those timing routes in pat? Can he get in sync and into a rhythm with Brock Purdy? So that's what we're looking to see, especially when training camp comes. I think training camp comes, he's gonna light it up. I could feel it. Him, Jordan Watkins too. Like, it's kind of crazy.
Let's talk about Jordan Watkins. Look at Wayne knowing where I'm gonna go next. Like, every time he just knows we're in sync. All right, so Jordan Watkins, definitely saw some reports on him that he looked really good in day one of OTAs. And usually, like, I don't want to say this is surprising, but
It's a whip route right there.
It takes some time for these rookies to get acclimated. And again, it's just OTA, so like this is where they can cook, right? We don't know how he's feeling with the playbook yet. That's when it'll really get interesting, and maybe we see the doghouse appearance for Watkins. But just based on how he's looking so far, I mean, it looks pretty good, right?
That's a nice route.
He looks the part. Smart.
It's hard to measure these. You take it with a grain of salt. They're not going up against defense here,
right?
But watching the routes, if you're watching the routes, was the route crisp? Was the route smooth? Was the route jagged? Was the timing off? None of that. It was all good, And he even extended to make the catch. It looked like it wasn't even a great throw, but he adjusted and made the catch, right? Because sometimes in football games, the timing is going to be a little bit off. The quarterback's going to have a little pressure in his face or whatnot, right? Or he might be thrown on the run. So it was good to see. That's kind of like a nice little whip route right there. That's the Brandon Ayuk special.
Yeah.
Not as fluid to me as Ayuk running it, but that looked nice coming from a rookie. Not going to lie.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're starting to see these glimpses this early, like, it's usually a pretty good sign. And I think we're intrigued by Watkins and everything we've heard of him so far. So I can't wait to see what he looks like in camp. And hopefully he gets a good grasp on that playbook, because that's, like I said, that's where all the rookies just kind of meet the doghouse. But we'll see how Watkins does. Speaking of rookies, though, another rookie that, Fred Warner was asked about is fellow linebacker Nick Martin. So here's what Fred had to say about him.
No sound.
Oh,
the whole two.
Let me go back.
Heard the whole story about how he said he had my jersey before coming on the team, and then with some of those situations, guys don't want to seem like they're, the whole too cool thing. I don't know what it is. Like, you just don't want an older player to think that. You'd think that they're not like, they're just like little bro or something. But he hasn't. He's come in and he's asked me every single question known to man of, like, Fred, like, how are you doing this? Like, what are you doing after practice? What are you doing after the lift? And wanting to be a part of those things and not being afraid to ask those questions, right? So, I mean, I've seen the athletic ability flash already on the field in the way that he closes space really quickly. And he already has the great mindset of wanting to learn. So, I'm really happy with where he's at.
So that's a good sign already on Nick Martin, that he's wanting to be a sponge. And, if you're going to be a sponge for anyone, do it with Fred Warner, right? Like, try to absorb as much as you can from the best linebacker in the league, who just got paid as such, right? So I think this is good on Nick Martin. And obviously, Fred saying he sees the athletic ability, his ability to close and all that, I think is great. So, oh wait, did something just happen? Bryce Huff is going to the 49ers, mid-round pick.
They getting Bryce Huff.
Whoa.
Breaking news, 49ers and Eagles. Per Adam Schefter, 49ers and Eagles are working to finalize a trade that will send edge rusher Bryce Huff to San Francisco for a mid-round pick. The trade cannot and would not be processed until after June 1st. But both sides are working to make it happen, and Huff has already reworked his contract to help facilitate the trade. In San Francisco, Huff will be reunited with 49ers defensive coordinator Robert Saleh. So we got the breaking news.
Whoa. Well, Wayne.
Click, click,
Hey.
boom.
Let's
I
go.
love it.
But Wayne, this is huge because we were literally just talking about Nick Bosa, right? And just how he may be freed up a little bit. You got Michael Williams on one side, you got Yetur Gross-Matos still, but Wayne, you got to admit, it still kind of felt like they were missing something opposite Bosa, right? Like,
I mean, the edge rushers that they drafted aren't your pass rushing specialists, right?
You'd have to wait for them to develop a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm not saying that Williams can't do it. I'm just saying you really brought him in here to anchor and stop that damn run. Like that you want him setting the edge, right? Now you got a guy that is a sack machine. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like when he left the Jets to go to Philly, like this is what I like. Like now you got speed off the edge. This is that D Ford-esque type of a pick. You know what I'm saying? So this is what Robert Saleh needs, and Robert Saleh gets. It's a mid-round pick. Hey, man, the hell with them draft picks, man.
I mean, I also love the fact that, yes, like Robert Saleh already has that familiarity with him, so he knows he has a vision for him already, I'm sure. So I am excited. I know Nick Bosa is doing cartwheels right now. Like, I know he's really excited about this. This defense might just be, Wayne, on the right track.
This is speed off the edge, man. If you want to know why it makes sense, we kept saying that we were going to look into free agency if anything was to happen with any of those guys. A lot of those guys are older guys in free agency, like the Von Millers and things like that. When you look at Bryce Huff, though, I mean, this is the kid that played under this is a Robert Saleh guy. So it's all about bringing the familiarity back, right? This is the kid he drafted, like, you know what I'm saying, back in 2020. So, like, you look at him, he just gives you that ability to ball out. 2023, Steph, we talking 10 sacks. So that's what I'm talking about. Like that. Now you bringing in a guy that is, known to pass rush, right? So now you got your pass rushing edge, you got your run stuffing edge, and the rotations will be, down to distance, like third and long, boom. Michael, you out. They ain't running on 3rd and 12, 3rd and 15. They're not running on that. Boom, you bring in the speed. Now you got a guy that can win off the edge. So I like it. I really do like it. This was something that I thought in free agency we would have went after him at one point. 6'3", 255. Yeah, man, give it to me, baby. I like it.
Only 27 years old, Wayne, as well.
Only 27. Didn't have a good year with the Eagles because they probably utilized him wrong. But he is a Super Bowl champion.
12 games, 2.5 sacks with the Eagles last year. Year prior to that, as Wayne mentioned, 2023, 17 games, 10 sacks. That was a career high for him. And again, that was with Robert Saleh. The year prior to that, 2022, 14 games, 3.5 sacks. So it seems like that untapped potential was there for that 2023 season when he was with Saleh. So that explains why the 49ers feel good about making this move. And so currently he's on a 3-year, $51.1 million contract that he signed last year with the Eagles. And so via this trade, he's going to be on that same deal. I'm assuming the 49ers are fine with that contract. And we'll see if they look to make any changes to it via an extension, but I don't think so. I think they're probably comfortable making it a 2-year, deal with the 49ers. But I'm curious to see the mid-round pick too. Like this seems like decent value for the 49ers.
I mean, what's mid-round? Third or fourth, maybe?
Yeah.
So it's no biggie. We're gonna have several of them anyway. Gonna have probably several compensatory third-round picks anyway. At the end of the day, so I say, yeah, go for it, man. Look, The Niners are retooling. This is something that they've been doing, and this, is probably one of the best acquisitions they've done. Again, you're talking about a guy that's familiar with the system, with the coaching. And so, yeah, why not bring that in? Now you got a few guys that are familiar. You got the old guys with San Francisco, and now you're bringing in another guy that's high up. And he could play off-ball linebacker if you need him too. So, like, at the end of the day, like, this kid brings versatility.
And my bad, I misspoke. He already reworked the contract that
Correct.
he had signed. My bad,
Correct.
my bad. So yeah, I mean, even better. So that means this deal is probably even better for the 49ers. It works for them. I feel so good about the 49ers defensive line now. Suddenly, like it feels a little more complete than it did before, in that you can have certain different groups, 3 different downs. What was I saying earlier, Wayne? Like that was their bread and butter at when they had D'Amico, when they had Saleh, like they had these rotations, they had different groups for the first down, second down, third and longs, so now they can kind of bring that back. I do think Michael Williams is going to be that rotational guy, maybe early down guy, right? Because that's what he does best, defending the run. But wow, I mean, he's going to have a pretty decent group of guys to learn from with Huff now, and then also
we go from
Nick
one
Bosa.
Huff to the next Huff. We huffing and puffing. Let's go.
Oh my God. Yeah. So breaking news here on the show, 49ers acquire another edge rusher, Bryce Huff. Wow. I guess like that's a good way to kind of close out the show. Just another thing I wanted to talk about, Wayne, before we head out is, this is a former Jets player, a player that Saleh is familiar with. Well, the 49ers also brought in a player that Brant Boyer, new special teams coordinator, is familiar with in Thomas Morstead, who's now going to be the 49ers punter, 39 years old. So like that's special teams room is quite old now, but they also released Mitch Wishnowsky in the process. So they're looking to retool completely. I would say almost rebuild this special teams group as well. Jake Moody still there, but maybe they want to give him a chance and see if, for one, the long snapper was maybe the issue there. And then it seems like Moody's also going to be trying out a new technique with his kick, maybe based on reports. So the 49ers bringing in a lot of guys via Saleh, via Brant Boyer that they're familiar with in order to get this going and going quick.
And that's the best way to jumpstart the systems. You get what I'm saying? So we proved that we were going to get younger in the draft with a bunch of guys, new guys. And so some of the worries were going to be like, well, how quick will these guys be able to get the system? And so when you put pillars, when you put those specific players in position that are already familiar with the system, it makes it easier for those young guys to grasp hold, because you're not putting all the responsibility on the young dudes. So like when you trade for a guy like Bryce Huff, and shout out to John Lynch. John Lynch is the one pulling the triggers on these trades. Like, shout out to him for finding ways to consistently make this team competitive and better each and every year. I mean, we lost a lot of players in free agency that were beneficial to what we did. And so now we're going in talking about we're getting younger, we're getting cheaper, all these things. And then you trade for a guy that's already familiar with the system. It's going to make the transition that much easier. So Saleh doesn't have to really skip a beat. Even Fred Warner says there might be some new things he has to learn, but that's what it's all about. And now you got a guy that's going to come in and probably learn some of the new nuances to Saleh's defense, but he's familiar with it, and that's the key. So a lot of familiarity with the defense, a lot of familiarity with the special teams and Brant Boyer. And Kyle got all his damn guys back. You don't need any familiarity with it. They're all there. The only person missing is Debo. Like, what the hell are we talking about? Talking about we lost a lot of talent. We only lost Debo. Like, and let's get it. I'm the biggest Debo Samuel fan, but offensively, that's it. That's it. We lost that part of the game that we just weren't even seeing anymore. It wasn't dynamic to Kyle's offense anymore. So we need to see some new stuff to the offense. So I'm excited offensively, defensively, and for special teams.
Man, this is big. I'm very excited about the 49ers. What has everyone been saying at this point? The vibes. The vibes
are great, baby.
Kittle said he'd say they're immaculate. I'd say I would agree. I mean, and this just adds on to it. So, yeah,
NASCAR package. I like that. Turbo package, Luke Washington. Turbo, NASCAR, however you look at it. I mean, look, no Drake Jackson. They moved on from him. This is I'm telling you, like, the Niners get their D Ford. We didn't draft the D Ford. I wanted to draft the D Ford. I wanted the James Pierce. I wanted the I forgot his name already. The kid from Marshall. I wanted those guys. But that's not what we went. We went with the edge setter because you know why? They had a mother freaking plan.
All right,
this was the plan.
This was the plan, and we couldn't see the vision at first, but man, John Lynch, I see you, man. I see you. So Adam Schefter did provide a little more clarity. He says it's a third day pick for
that's even better.
Bryce Huff.
We're talking 4th, 5th, 6th round.
Wow. Yeah. So what a move. I mean, what a move. And yeah, Huff hadn't been at OTAs yet. So I think, he'll be showing up for the 49ers now that he's going to be in a new environment. So at least I'd hope so. Right. So this is a really good move for the 49ers. And I'm speechless, excited for the season. The vibes couldn't get any better for this team. Look out for the Niners, man.
I kept saying I'm excited to watch this defense. I was already excited to watch the defense.
Right.
But now you're adding another key component to the pass rush. And I think that's what we need. Like, can he set the edge? Yeah. But I really think he's going to be brought in to really attack the passer, man. Pin your ears back, go get him. And we're going to see what Robert Bill Jr. does in practice. Like, we're going to see. This is all about competition, for sure. At every position, there's competition, maybe except for the tight end spot. I feel like that's the only position safe. Ain't nobody taking George Kittle's spot. But the competition is there. And nobody's taking Brock Purdy's spot either. But you know what I mean. The competition is there.
Shout out to John Lynch. Shout out to the 49ers, man. The vibes are indeed immaculate. This is going to be a fun offseason. It already has been. So, yeah, I mean, continue to rock with us as we continue to give you guys all the news from this offseason. But, Wayne, fun show today. Wasn't expecting any breaking news on May 30th, but we got it, and we're looking forward to it. We'll talk more about it on Monday's show with Weston. We'll be back there. But Wayne, thank you so much for joining. I know you're going to be taking a little break now, so hopefully we can get you back here on the show during the season or a little closer to the season.
For sure.
We'll have to stay in touch. But thank you so much for doing these off-season shows with me. It's been a blast.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Make sure you guys like this video if you haven't yet. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, not just mine, but Wayne's as well, because he has great content on his channel too, and his Twitter, of course. So make sure you guys follow him, Wayne Breezy. Audio listeners, leave a rating, leave a review. For now, folks, have a good rest of your Friday. Have a great weekend. For now, peace.